Hi, I am Deborah R. Richardson of Deborah R. Richardson LLC, and I work with you to help you clean up your vendor data, clean up your vendor processes, and pay the right vendor. Now, this week's Vendor Master File tip of the week is what your vendor may not let their employees do and what to do instead. So I attend and speak at quite a few in-person conferences. And last week I was at the spring IOFM conference or the Institute of Finance and Management. And they have both accounts receivable employees or attendees and accounts payable attendees because they have sessions that relate to both. Now, I went to a session where there were both AP and AR attendees, and when the subject of fraud came up and making that confirmation call, one AR attendee raised their hand and said that their employer does not allow them to confirm banking over the phone, which, if you think about it, they don't know who you are when you call to say, hey, I want to confirm your banking. Not only that, but I've heard from other conference attendees that when they try to go to the vendor's website and get the contact information for the AR team in order to make that confirmation call, the vendors have removed it from their website. So these are a couple of things that the vendors are doing to protect themselves from fraud. So the question now is if you can't call and make that confirmation of a bank change or remittance address change, what can you do instead? So three things. The first one is if you have the ability to do bank account ownership validation, definitely do that. Make sure though that you have some other activity that the platform checks because the fraudsters have evolved and now they're opening up bank accounts using your vendor's actual information. So make sure that it checks like activity for types of deposits. So for example, if they normally receive or the depositor normally receives social security checks in the amount of, I don't know, a few $1,000s, and then all of a sudden receives a $23 million payment, that's going to be a flag. Also, make sure that it can identify when other vendors or when other buyers have reported that account as being fraudulent. The next thing you can do is a micro entry. Now, I know that is not ideal because it's very manual and it takes a lot of time. Could take a lot of time for the vendor to respond to say that they received it and confirm the amount, but it is an option. And lastly, if you can't confirm the banking details, especially if you've had an extra large payment anyway, I would recommend that you confirm that the payment is received. So for example, if you are sending a normal ACH payment, the vendor should be able to see the payment is received within 48 hours. So just call them and make sure that they have received the payment. Now, this is not ideal for a mass number of payments, but maybe this can tide you over until you put a solution in place, or you can only do this for very large payments that maybe exceed your typical payment. And I actually recommend this for large payments anyway as an additional control, even when you can make that confirmation call. All right, so those are just three options. Ideally, though, what you'll want to do is you'll want to review your vendor process from end to end and make sure that you've plugged up any gaps from or any gaps that could result in fraud, and also any gaps that could result in compliance fines or just overall bad vendor data. And so I do have a free training on that. I will put the link to that in the description. All right, so if you like more information on how to improve your vendor process, please go to my website at deborarrichardson.com for free tools and resources to avoid fraud, regulatory fines, and bad vendor data. And if you would like over 163 hours, I keep adding to it, of training for your vendor team, check out the Vendor Process Training Center at training.deborarrichardson.com. And so good luck and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified next Tuesday for the next Vendor Master File tip of the week.